Hello guys, welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message, it comes from a translation of a message that I received. So after this brother of ours had given us this confession, then I had another conversation with him. Then this is the rest of the conversation that I had with him on WhatsApp. The translation of that conversation reads like this. Hello brother Nashi, please post for me as anonymous. My brother, I am a man who is currently working here in South Africa. When I started working in South Africa, I was working as a security guard, but the pay that I was getting, it was painfully very little. At that time, when I was working for that company, we were earning somewhere around 800 rands a month. And this security company that I was working for, it only targeted undocumented nationals or very desperate South Africans that were much older and that had no IDs. So we used to stay in an empty shed that had no toilets. When you wanted to go to the toilet, then you'll just go to the bushes. The managers for that company, they were so rude. Sometimes if you would ask for your salary, you end up getting beaten. This security company mainly had its post in the farms and the warehouses. So on most occasions, we had to look for other ways so as to sustain ourselves. Then there was an older guy, he was much older than I was, who was my partner at the post where we were working as security guards. This man loved playing Loto a lot, and he would always tell me to write numbers down so that he can bet on them. When I first became friends with this older guy who was a local national, I didn't know that he was trying to get rich off the numbers that I was giving him. I thought that maybe he just wanted to use those numbers for something else. Like in the morning when I would wake up, then he would ask me what were the numbers that were first to come on my mind. Then sometimes he would give me a piece of paper and a pen so that I can write those numbers. But sometimes when I would have given him those numbers later on, I found out that he was using those numbers to play the lotto, but not always that he was winning. Sometimes I would actually predict about 2 or 3 numbers. When I saw that I was able to predict at least 2 or 3 numbers, maybe just missing the Powerball, then I thought that this thing of me becoming a millionaire by winning the lotto, it was in my blood. I was born to do this. Then I started to get into this thing of playing lotto as well. As time went on, me and that older guy, we became such good friends because of this lotto, because whenever we would go to buy those lotto tickets, we would go together. Then along the way, that was when he told me of this other traditional healer whom he knew. This traditional healer was a local who knew all about giving people lotto winning lucky charms, and I asked him why he had not gone to consult with that traditional healer if he had helped a lot of people. He told me that he didn't have enough money because that traditional healer was quite expensive. So I worked for several months. The way that I budgeted my money was that, my brother, when I would cook pap, I would go to this other place where there was a fruit and veg market. Then I would pick up the tomatoes and the onion. So for many months, that was all that I was eating. I would eat bread in the morning, then in the evening, I would cook the soft porridge with the tomatoes that I would have picked up from the local market. Then after I had raised enough money, then I told that older guy that I was ready to go and visit that traditional healer. When we went there, that traditional healer had told me that he wanted nothing less than 5,000 rands, and as someone who was earning 800 rands a month, this was like 1,000,000 rands to me. But me wanting to become rich, I saved the minimum that I could until I had 3/4 of the money. Then we went and we paid that traditional healer who was said to be specializing in those charms of giving people the lucky lotto charms. When we went there, the healer said that since I didn't have enough money on me, I had to leave my ID card Since I was short on the money that was needed for those rituals, then I left my ID card with him, but it was not a South African ID, but it was a Zimbabwean ID that I had brought when I had came from Zim. I was then given the Loto winning lucky charm. Then this lucky charm that was given to me, it was in form of a little bottle, and I left my identity card with him. The rules that were given to me after the rituals were performed was that I had to place this little bottle that contained the Loto lucky charm winning numbers underneath my pillow, or when I go to bed, I just had to place it just close to me so that when I'll be sleeping, then the lucky charm will make me to dream of the numbers that will be winning numbers. And after those numbers would have been given to me, the very next morning, before I do anything, even before I pee, I was supposed to write those numbers down. And if I successfully write those numbers down as they had been given to me in my dreams, I'll become a multimillionaire by winning the Lotto. So I then started using that lucky charm oil several times, but when I saw that this thing seemed to be not working, I got so angry so much that I wanted to throw it away. But because of the money that I had forked out, and the money that I had given to that traditional healer was quite a lot for me, I then chose to keep that lucky charm oil bottle. Tired of my poverty and working for such a low salary, because we used to get something like 5 rand increase a year, I then chose to look for somewhere else. I then met a man who was working at the RDPs. This man claimed that when he was working for that company, he was getting a lot of money. This man, he was doing roofing for that construction company. He told me that if I was strong enough, there was so much money that could be made in the construction business. So these RDP houses, they were being built for the poor by the government. When I went there, unfortunately, a lot of bad stuff were happening in that company, a lot of misuse of the funds. Then that construction company ended up robbing us. I only got less than 2,000 rands for the 6 months that I worked for that construction company. I still remember that when we were building these RDP houses, we were building them in an area that is called Zebediela. I worked for a very long time with no salary at all. And when I finally walked away from that company, I then decided to dump my lucky charm oil in one of the toilets that we had just finished building. But the toilet had not yet been used, not knowing what happened to that lucky charm oil bottle that I dumped in the toilet there in Zebediela. Seeing that the Lotto winning luck had not worked for me, I threw it away and I left working at the RDPs. But this thing that I did, it scares me each and every time that I hear stories about people who did rituals and they ended up suffering because of the rituals that they did. I always think about my own story. I just pray that God destroyed that lucky charm after I had thrown it away, because I am so scared. I don't want to suffer because of those rituals that I did. I never even enjoyed any luck with all the things that were given to me by that traditional healer. I have never enjoyed any luck here in South Africa. When I was still working at the RDPs, life got so hard, my brother. So many days we would starve because we had no food. What we would do is that we would go and buy a small 2.5 of millimil. Then we would cook soft porridge. Then we would buy, in South Africa there are these small knickknacks, and we would buy 1 or 2 of those small knickknacks. Then we would eat it with the soft porridge that we would have cooked, because there was no money. The men that we used to work for, he knew that we were foreigners and there was no way we could go and report him. If you could try to call him telling him that we were so hungry, he never picked up our calls, and we ended up starving, such that we started surviving on using less cement on the buildings that we were building and selling off the cement so that we can buy food. A lot of things happened when I was still there at the RDPs, a lot of bad memories. I worked for half a year at the RDPs, and I only got less than 2,000 rand. And it is not like that money, it all came at once, but the money came in form of bits and pieces. But my story today was about the lucky charm that I got. Each and every day I pray to God that this was nothing but a fake charm that won't make my bloodline to suffer because of the rituals that I did. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our brothers. Then I had a conversation with him after he had given me his story. Have you ever had a lucky charm or a lucky charm oil given to you? After you had used that lucky charm oil, then what happened next? Do you think that the lucky charms works or not? Please feel free to get in contact with us.